All right, we are in studio and we are now live. Our colleagues, let me welcome you to the session 3 of the Global Entrepreneurship Week. We are hosting Mr. Mogomuzi Frans, a very well accepted and respected entrepreneur in Gaborone, Botswana, founder of KeyWealth. He's talking to us today about the startup mindset. Mogomuzi Frans, let me now hand over to you, sir, to tell us what Mogomuzi Frans and then what is KeyWealth.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tegere. My name is Mogomuzi Patrick Frans. As you said, I run a company called KeyWealth. I actually started this company 7 years ago, and I started off selling insurance, but then over time I evolved because I saw gaps and I saw opportunities in the market to continue empowering people. So then I started a training consultancy and then also an investment advisory. So right now at KeyWealth, we say that we specialize in training, advisory, and risk management. We currently have a staff complement of 28, and we do assist blue chip companies and individuals. So we've been growing, steadily and in the right direction for the past 7 years. But if you ask me who I am, I'll tell you that I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a problem solver. I'm a guy who's always, looking forward to see what is it that we can do to make other people's lives better. What is it that we can do to move humanity forward? So that's basically what I do on a day-to-day basis. Yes, sir. Mr. Tegere.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Mogomuzi Frans. You are a very respected entrepreneur when it comes to this subject of startups and the startup mindset. And I know KeyWealth, you have protected it and created it as a product. Perhaps at this juncture, maybe take us through your content for us to appreciate why entrepreneurs need to have a certain mindset and what has been your personal experience in what you have seen in Botswana.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and when you say what I've seen in Botswana, I can also share with you that I'm a Mandela Washington fellow. So I've seen other Africans, I've met other entrepreneurs when we're doing the fellowship, and I realized that in Africa, we've been affected by the same thing. We've been colonized. We're now starting up and trying to figure out how to really solve our own problems here. If you look at the population of Africa as a continent, in 1990, just 30 years ago, we had about 504 million people. Okay, now we're sitting at 1.2 billion. Not only has that created a new market, or has created an immense market and a diverse market, but it also shows you that we are now seeing a crop of new entrepreneurs. We're now seeing a lot of young people who are out there. Some of them can't find the job, or majority of them can't find jobs. Now they want to go into this entrepreneur space. And I think it's key for us to really put a benchmark, to really paint a picture of, if you want to go into this thing called entrepreneurship, what is it? How does it look like? How does an entrepreneur think? And if you want to evolve into an entrepreneur, then you at least be able to inherit or inculcate those particular habits in your mindset, and you're able to see life in a certain way. And also at the same time, we see now a lot of funders, people that are funding entrepreneurs. Could be banks, could be government development banks, could be venture capitalists, private equity funds. They want to invest into this thing called, now, because they're seeing this phenomenon. People now are interested in entrepreneurship, but they also do not know how to pick up the science from someone who will be able to succeed in this entrepreneur. We're not saying that all entrepreneurs will succeed, but we're saying at least if you have a model that will reduce your failure rate, you will at least be able to fund the right people that will ultimately go ahead and create more employment and solve the problems that we have. As I've shared with you, that now we've got an extra 700 million people in the past 70 years. So we need to really employ these people. We need to really solve these people's problems. And I can tell you that, in Africa that most companies or most employers are SMMEs. Okay, so we really need the successful SMMEs for us to create employment. So where does it start? I would like to share the screen so that I can take people through what I've prepared here. because it's key. So my presentation will really be based on the entrepreneur, those that are aspiring to be entrepreneurs or to start up companies. I want to show them what is it that how an entrepreneur thinks, so that at least they know and they can evolve into that. Okay, if they want their businesses to have a chance of succeeding. And I also want to show the financier to say this is what you pick if you really want to have successful entrepreneurs, or you want to fund people that will take your money. I mean, some people funders, some of them are just charitable funders, I guess. If you look at the government funders, some of them really want 10x, 5x, 10x of their money, and those ones really, put people through a program. They really want to know exactly if they're investing in the right people. But you see, if we have the right people with the right mindset, and we have the right people who fund and know how to pick up the right people, then we'll be able to move this thing called entrepreneurship forward. Because it's now a fashion, and I'm happy that people are interested in it. But I think we need to skin this animal and understand what it is and how an entrepreneur thinks. Mr. Teked, I'm trying to share my screen, and okay, so let's see. Say it doesn't give me the share button. Is there something I'm doing wrong here? Oh yeah, all right, no, there we go. Okay. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the startup mindset. Okay, a lot of people want to start businesses, and we all know of the failure rate, and we all know that not everyone that go ahead and start a business really understand what it takes for you to be in that business. You said I should also share my experience. I've been through trouble, have hit slums. I've been through challenges. There were times where I could have given up, but there was that thing that kept me going. And I can tell you that thing doesn't come from outside. It's within, and it's the mindset. So once you understand how an entrepreneur thinks and they can be able to persevere, then once you build up those habits, you evolve into that person, you will know exactly that if I start up for my business to succeed, at least over time, because we should also know something. These habits are built over time. Some of us were not born with them. And some people are fortunate enough to have been introduced to entrepreneurship at a younger age in their life. There are people that when they grew up, their parents, introduced them to business. They picked up those habits over time. They were able to see how things are done, things like communication, negotiation, talking to customers. They were able to see that. They were able to see the time that the parents were dedicating to the business. They picked up those habits over time. But now we have a lot of people that can't find jobs. Now they want to go into this entrepreneurship thing. It's a new thing for them, but they don't know how to think. So we are going to talk about the startup mindset. And it's key because one thing that we should ask ourselves, and this is what I thought when I started in business, because maybe I was just that passionate and I thought that I was cut from a different cloth. I always thought that entrepreneurs are born, up until I realized that actually entrepreneurship can be nurtured. Meaning what? Meaning you can evolve into entrepreneurship. Meaning even if you're not introduced to entrepreneurship at a younger age, you can actually decide and intentionally evolve into this thing called entrepreneurship, into an entrepreneur, and start thinking like one, and then you have a chance of building as such. So there's always that question: is entrepreneurship nature or nurture? I think I take the concept that it's nurtured, and it can also be in anyone, even someone who just finished at varsity. They want to start up a business, they don't know how to go about it. If they can build up these habits that I'm going to talk about, then they'll be able to, they will have a chance, at least that startup or can move from ideation to concept to prototype to then taking it to the market to, getting the feedback and being able to, develop and continuously create as they go ahead. And I think one thing that we should know is that there's a roadmap towards that, okay? There is a roadmap towards this. There's ideologies, there's philosophies, there's belief systems that you need to build. Because at Key Wealth, we teach people about money. And we always say this: if you want to create wealth, but you have the habits of the poor, it will be difficult for you to really have a relationship with money. So start by building the habits first, and then you see money coming through. Because even in business, there are a lot of things that you need to be able to do, and then once you are there, money is just a yardstick, because it's a byproduct of your thought and how you look at it and what you do. So as I spoke about philosophies, as I spoke about belief systems, as I spoke about philosophies, belief systems, and ideologies. And you must understand that these three things are influenced by how we grew up and are influenced by what we say in the surrounding. So if you don't have role models who can tell us and show us this is how I started and this is who I am, and and I was in your locality, it will be difficult. Now, what we are doing is that we're idolizing entrepreneurs from overseas, and as we do that, we hear people who have made money, who are overnight millionaires. Someone comes with an app and they make money immediately. We idolize Mark Zuckerberg, we idolize Bill Gates, all those other guys. But you see, we don't realize that even there are people in our communities who were doing this thing called entrepreneurship, who are starting their businesses from just a small shop and try to build up. The only thing we failed was to evolve in that, because maybe the next generation wasn't that entrepreneur to pick that up to be able for us to have this culture of entrepreneurship going forward. And hence I'm saying, now people have a dilemma. Should we follow people that we see overseas and we see the biographies that they became and overnight successes and overnight millionaires and billionaires? They build a business to sell. Should we be doing that? And that create an instant gratification, because everyone is starting a business simply because they want to be like those people. But the entrepreneurship and an entrepreneur mindset is not like that, believe me. So we need to really assess our perspectives, our thought patterns, our principles, our belief systems, our ideologies. And when I say these three things, basically, belief system is what do you believe? What do you believe? And that's influenced primarily by how you were raised up and how you've been looking at life. What do you believe? Let me ask you, what do you believe that you can build a business and believe you can believe in yourself and believe in your country and believe in everything that is there? Do you believe that you can build up a business and it can be successful, and you're not only building it for yourself, but you are building it for your children's children? Are you thinking long term? Do you have that belief? Do you believe in yourself that you're capable of doing that? And then, I always say that if you have never traveled, your mind is as small as Gaborone, because traveling exposes your mind and it also fuels your belief and that faith in you. Because I believe, when I started Key Wealth, I said, I believe that I can do this. I might come from humble beginnings, I might come from poverty, but I believe that I can do it. That's the belief system. Philosophies, how you look at life. Do you look at Botswana as a country or Africa as a continent that has so much opportunities and also has so much problems that you can be able to solve because you believe you can solve them and you realize that they are there? Do you look at Africa as an opportunity, or you look at Africa as a problem? Entrepreneurs have the ability to look at the situation and even if it's a problem, they see an opportunity to solve that problem. As I've shared with you earlier, in Africa right now, and that's how you should be able to look. In Africa right now, in 1990, like I said, 30 years ago, a 30-year-old is still a young person, still youth, but 30 years ago, Africa had 504 million people. Now it has got 1.2 billion people. Do you look at this as these people now, we've got a lot of problem, because a lot of poverty, because again, in the same token, about 500 million people in Africa live below the poverty datum. So clearly, we need more entrepreneurs to solve these problems, to employ these people. So do you look at Africa? That's the philosophy now. How do you look at Africa? How do you look at Botswana? Do you look at Botswana as problems, or do you look at it as an opportunity to create solutions that are able to do that, to solve other people's problems and make other people's lives better? And ideologies, what do you think? What is in your thought pattern? How do you think on a day-to-day? Because then that's key, because thinking, ideologies, like I said, they're influenced by certain things. The thought patterns, the ability for you to say that, to think in a way that to see what other people can see. They always say that entrepreneurs are able to see beyond what other people see. So, which is very, 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 very key. And also, there are issues like social, where we make social impact. Do you think of a business as something that is going to make a social impact in your society? Do you start social enterprises that are able to solve the problems within you? And I remember the reason why I was picked for Mandela Washington Fellowship is because I wasn't only thinking about myself, I was thinking about other people. And that's what entrepreneurship, and that's what the thinking is. When you're an entrepreneur, it's not about you, it's about other people. It's about what is there, what can be solved. That's the reason why even when you start a business, you are not thinking that business is going to buy you a Range Rover, because it's not your, that I'm starting this business and I might not be the one enjoying this. Maybe my children will enjoy it. And I believe so also. And let me just give a religious example that a friend of mine shared with me. He said, "Do you know that right now the concepts of Jesus are making people rich? But Jesus, when he did those concepts earlier back in the days, he didn't do them to make money there, and he wasn't even a person making. But he was. You can say he had an entrepreneurial mindset if you think of it, because he was impacting human lives and ultimately making people." Enterprise over time, and use those thought patterns and philosophies and belief systems to be able to impact people's lives. So that's what I'm simply saying. We need to start there first. But the most important thing, which I think a lot of people aren't embracing enough, is that we are all born with an inherent ability to create. And that's what entrepreneurship is. And I see a lot of people now wanting to go into this thing called entrepreneurship, but they are failing to realize their creativity because they are going after each and every opportunity. And also they want to do something on their own, and they also fail on their own, but they don't realize that somehow they might have a creativity that is in them, and they're able to, if they can explore that creativity and collaborate with other people, then they'll be able to make something better. You know, when now in this day and age now, when we have like the Internet of Things, fourth industrial revolution, all those other stuff, I come across a site called Fiverr. You know, this site, and I'm not advertising it, but it's a site where a graphic designer who knows how to, do his work, that creativity he has or she has, is able to provide their services online, not only to people around them, but people all over the world. I remember there was one guy who did our business cards at some point. The guy was sitting in Pakistan, and we even became friends on Facebook. But I knew the guy through Fiverr. So hence I'm simply saying, let's take it locally now. In Botswana, people want to start agriculture, in the agricultural projects, but maybe one person knows how to rear cattle because they were raised probably in a farming environment where particularly they were rearing cattle. But that person thinks that they can then enterprise and build a huge enterprise. But they don't realize they lack so many skills and so many habits. Probably that's the creative. They know that. But what if they were to collaborate with someone who knows about slaughtering, someone who knows about feeds, someone who knows about marketing the business? And I can tell you, these people can come together and build up an enterprise that works. Obviously, a leader will emerge, and we need leadership also in business. But all I'm simply saying is that we need to know to look within ourselves and say, we are born with that inherent ability to create. And that's where entrepreneurship starts. What is it that we can create and we can evolve? We can nurture that over time. You know, if you think about, if I look at myself, I remember, when I was at UB, something, told me that I'm not cut for work. Somehow, they call it the entrepreneurship bug, yes. But a lot of people get bit by the entrepreneurship bug, but they're still stuck in employment and they never quit, all right? Hence, I'm saying this thing needs to be nurtured. This thing needs to be nurtured. And even someone who doesn't have that bug, they can still nurture themselves to become an entrepreneur by changing those things that I'm going to talk about here, all right? I remember when I was at UB, when I was doing first year, I realized that, there are kids who are coming from different villages. They come into UB, they don't have access, they don't know where to get music. That was back when, you couldn't download music anywhere. So they didn't have, so I started banning CDs, selling CDs to them, making extra money. And I remember I was also on Saturdays, I was working at a certain pharmacy because there was this thing in me that says, I need to do something, I need to do something. And I was also continuously starting to figure out what are the problems around me. And that's what entrepreneurs need to do. Your ability to trigger your creativity. Your creativity, once it's triggered, it will figure out what is it around me that is a problem that I can start solving. Then you start with where you are. All right. Now, I want to talk really about things that I've been saying. I'm going to talk about here. Remember, I said when I started, my objectives here is to talk to people that aspire to be entrepreneurs. They want to involve this thing called entrepreneur, and they want to start a company, but they don't know what a startup mindset looks like. And I also want to talk to people that want to fund entrepreneurs, and we see this now happening. They want to fund entrepreneurs, but they also want to reduce their failure rate. Why? Because there's plenty of people nowadays presenting themselves as entrepreneurs, but sometimes they don't realize they don't have that philosophy, belief system, and ideology. But if probably I could show them, I could paint a picture for both these two people, the aspiring entrepreneurs, the ones that start, and the ones that want to fund. If I can paint a picture for them, maybe they'll see and they put their money where to work for them. All right, and we'll start seeing a difference in Botswana, in Africa, because we need to employ those 700 million people. We need to feed those 700 million people that I told you were born between 1990 and now. We need to feed those. We need to clothe those people. We need to solve those people's problems. And those people have got basic problems. They've got problems that evolve over time because human interaction. They've got plenty of them. And that's what we need to do as entrepreneurs. Find those problems, trigger your inherent creativity, and that's where products come from. And I'm gonna take you through. I just did 6 of them. Okay, there's plenty of a lot of things that you can think and you can have as an entrepreneur. But I just picked 6, which I'll tell you that are signs and are keys to a successful enterprise, and that will show you how you see that this person is really an entrepreneur, or this person is at least having the basics, and this person is thinking in the right direction. So that even when you fund, you ask questions along these 6 things. So that when you want to start up and you want to really build an enterprise, you ask yourself and introspect: am I looking at life? Am I seeing life? Am I seeing business through these 6 things? I'm giving you a picture here. First of all, vision. I've never seen an entrepreneur who doesn't have a vision. Now, what is it about vision? An entrepreneur is able to see the future. An entrepreneur, I'm not saying fortune telling. I'm saying they're able to see what other people are unable. They're able to look beyond what they see. I'll give examples. Right now, we're in COVID, right? And a lot of things are going to change. And when they change, think about if you were running a school right now. Let's say you are a varsity, you are University of Botswana running a school, and things are changing, and you are unable to see that the future is going to virtual training. You're unable to see that. You're going to slide backwards, and your business is going to die. Okay, so now if you want to see that someone is able to see vision, you even hear them how they are so they're so excited about the future, that they're looking at the future as something that is going to be better than where we are. And they're not taking themselves out of that, because they're saying the future is going to be so nice because I am going to do this to move humanity forward. I'm going to do this to solve people's problems. And by the way, because the future, they look at the future, they are able to sacrifice the now for the future. They engage in instant gratification. Like, I've been running this business for 7 years, ladies and gentlemen. I've got 28 employees. My wage bill it's 100,000 plus. I nearly said how much it is, but 100,000. But I don't even drive a Range Rover, and it's not like I can't afford it. I don't drive it. I don't drive a nicer car. And guess what? Someone might say, "But you are making yourself suffer. We are making money. Why aren't you?" No. Here's the thing. The money that is made, I'm employing people to help me build the vision that I've seen, the picture that I've seen. And I know that not everyone has seen the picture, so everyone will want me to engage in instant gratification. But rather, what I'm doing, I'm reinvesting not only in the people that helped me to build this, but I'm reinvesting because I've seen the future, and all the profits, I'm putting them back because I know that the future will be better. And here's the thing. Even if I don't end up driving a Range Rover, my kids will. Even if they don't, my children's children will. I have changed the trajectory. I have cut the poverty, and I know that I've impacted people's lives. So once you're able to see the future, that you are visionary, that's what we need. And as an entrepreneur, ask yourself, and as an aspiring entrepreneur, ask yourself, do you think about the future and become excited to a point where you get goosebumps when you talk about the future? To a point where a funder, when they ask you about the future, a funder, when they see that you can sacrifice the present for the future, then they can put the money there, because no one wants to fund people that instant. They think about instant gratification. They can't delay that gratification. They want what comes with the starting the business. Because here's the thing: do you start a business because of what comes with it? Meaning, all the you are celebrated, people think you have money, you go to the nice restaurants. Do you want to start a business for that, or you want to start it because you want to impact people's lives and you want to solve the problems that we see around, and you're moving humanity forward? It's never about the money, ladies and gentlemen. It's about what you're seeing and you're passionate about it. Okay. The second thing, which is key, I spoke about it earlier. I said everyone was born with an inherent ability to create. And an entrepreneur is someone who's able to create, and they embrace that inherent ability. How? Like, I think I've explained this one, because you see opportunity, you see problems around you, but once you see those problems, you are quick to think, we can solve this, we can do this. What if we could do this? What if? You're always inquisitive, you are curious. I remember when I started in my journey, people call me the tiny boy who always asks questions. And I'll talk about that when I talk about growth. But I tell you, ability to create. Are you curious about the world? Right now, are you thinking, hey, what if right now we could, start doing something because COVID has really shown us that we don't feed ourselves? What if we could do this? What if you create because you have the inherent ability to create? But once you become curious, that creativity in you starts shining and say, I'm capable of doing this. Remember I said, then the belief is part of it. Someone who believes much in themselves and they know that they have that inherent ability to create, and they see opportunities and they start thinking around the solutions that are there. And the other one that I'm going to talk about is being resourceful, because people always say it's not like we lack resources, we are just not resourceful. And I'll give a simple example. Look at Botswana as a country. We have a population of about 2.3 million, but 1 million of us, or around 1 million of us, almost half of the population, we stay in and around Gaborone with a radius of 100 kilometers, just in and around Gaborone. So think about, whoever's listening, think about how many farms you have in your homestead at the village that you have left. And I'm not a prophet, but I'm going to tell you something. There's actually one farm that you have 20 years without plowing, all right? So tell me now that you don't have resources. But you know what you're going to tell me next? Because you always cling into excuses. You're going to tell me, no, there's no rain. No, you're telling me things because you are fearing taking accountability and ownership of the resources and being resourceful, because we do have resources in our and that's the thing about, if you want to see if someone is an entrepreneur, they start with what they have and they use what is at their disposal. I gave someone an example the other time. They said, I want to start a business that I want to start videography. I want to have cameras. And they told me that for me to start, because the business is capital intensive, I have to buy cameras, I have to do this. And then I realized this person doesn't have an entrepreneurial mindset. Why? Why doesn't this person have an entrepreneurial mindset? It's because if you had an entrepreneurial mindset, you'll be able to be resourceful and say, can I sell this? Can I sell this? Can I do this? Can I ask somebody if I can do this for them? Generate the money, buy the smallest camera, and then grow over time. But you want everything one time there. And that's the problem. That's the biggest problem. You need to be resourceful, and you need to be able to see, even when you are a founder, see if someone is resourceful. See if someone is able to utilize what they have at their disposal for them to be able to generate the income. They always say, do what you need to do to fund what you do, what you have to do to fund what you need to do. And do you know that excuses are real, ladies and gentlemen? They are so real. But my question is, are you happy with the results? You can never be giving excuses for a long time when you have resources at your disposal. You are a visionary. You're able to see the vision, okay? And you have the inherent ability to create. And now there's resources around you. Stop giving excuses that I can't find resources. They are. And stop thinking that you can make mistakes with someone else's money. No, when I started Keyworth, because we started by selling. Like I said, we're selling insurance. We started by selling. Now, that commission funded my vision of changing people's lives by financial education. Now that it's funded my vision of what? Of training people. I'm doing that. And I'm seeing the fruits of training. I'm seeing the fruits of financial advisory. But it was funded by the insurance, and I sold. I didn't wait for someone to come and give me $1 million or $2 million for me to do that. No. Become resourceful. So as a founder, you need to look for someone who is resourceful. That's the person who has a chance. I'm not saying these things will always be there. I'm saying at least there's a snippet. You can see it, you can cultivate it. That's why founders always have coaching and mentoring, because then you can really figure out that this person has a seed. Maybe if you water it, will come out with something. And even you who is aspiring to be an entrepreneur, think about it. Are you resourceful? Maybe it's time for you to start being resourceful to build this. And by the way, let me also tell you something. All these things that I'm sharing with you manifest themselves into habits if you do them over time, and you're intentional and you're conscious about them, and you are saying I am being resourceful. No matter what in my life, I'm going to be resourceful. And when you do that, it builds in you. Remember I said habits. If you want to be wealthy, have the habits of the wealthy. And how are habits formed? Habits are formed through repetition. They say it takes about 7 years for someone to be best at what they're doing, because it's habits. What's a habit? A habit goes in the subconscious mind, and you don't have to think about it. It's like riding a bicycle. You just do it. And when you do it, remember, resourcefulness becomes your second nature. Visionary becomes your second nature, because you're always curious about the future, always looking at the future. The ability to create gets triggered so much that because you have trained your mind to all the time trigger creativity when you see challenges to say, well, how can I solve them? And by the way, the other one that is key here is, I'm gonna just go here a bit, and then I'll finish with the other one that I know a lot of people talk about a lot. Let me go to problem solving, which is the fourth one I'm gonna talk about. As an aspiring entrepreneur, as someone who wanna start a startup, think about it. Are you solving a real problem? Or are you thinking that is a problem because, or you thinking that this business is gonna make me money because everyone is excited about it? Are you solving a real problem? Be honest with yourself. Look at what you are thinking is a problem. Is it a real problem? Is it going to move humanity forward? Is it going to make other people's lives easier? Think about it. Is your startup going to make other people's life easier, or is your startup going to make you money? When you say that my startup, I'm starting this thing because it's going to make me money, you've got it wrong. It has to solve a real problem and pain points. People have got pain points. Remember the 700 million people I spoke about in Africa. These people have got problems. And some of them, they've got physiological problems according to Maslow hierarchy of needs. This is the basic problems: food, shelter, and you know them, okay? And then as they go, they've got all this, and also they're just problems that comes with evolution. You know, there are problems that comes with Internet of Things. There are problems that comes with fourth industrial revolution. Are you solving a real problem, or you're just thinking of something that is going to make the money for you, which you'll never make if you're thinking that way, by the way? And that's what drives the passion, because if you are driven by making other people's life better, you are then studying the people, because your business is people. Your business is making people's lives better. So that means you are solving that problem. You are not solving what you think is the problem, and you're not solving what you think can make you money. That's the mindset right there. Funders, when you look at a person, you need to see if this person is really solving the real problem. Is there a pain point? Is there something that they are seeing that is going to move humanity forward? Sorry, let me just take a. All right. Now I'm going to go to growth. I can answer questions, and we can discuss these 6 ones as we go along. But let me talk about growth. An entrepreneur, or someone with an entrepreneur mindset, someone who wants to start up a business, will never be successful if they don't embrace this thing of growth. Because why? You need to be able to change fast. You need to be able to evolve, because your customers are people. People change, and if you don't change, it's going to be a problem. The other thing that you need to know is that no enterprise will grow if the owner doesn't grow. A business will only grow if the owner grows. So that means engaging in continuous development of your mind. That helps you to see things better. That helps you to create better. That helps you to be informed. So if, let's say I'm a founder and I'm sitting there and I'm asking someone a question, and I can see that this person is clueless about what's happening around them. This person is clueless about the industry they want to go into because they have never read on it. They have never taken time to study it. I see that this person is going to waste my money. And if you are an aspiring entrepreneur and you just think that money will come from heaven, you don't need to grow for the business to grow, you got it wrong. Because think about it. Let's give an example right now. If you want to start a business, let's say you wake up today and say, I want to start up a business that designs television. Do you think your business is going to be successful 50 years from now? Do you think it's going to be successful 20 years from now? I think that you are uninformed because you don't know of something called VR, virtual reality. That's going to replace TV. We might be sitting in the same house, but everyone wearing their own goggles, but watching the same thing. Are you able to invest in yourself so much that your ability to create is informed by what's happening and your growth, and it's helping you to grow the business? So, and I'm going to talk about something when I talk about growth, because you can never start an enterprise and you can never run a business if you're closed-minded. What do I mean by this? If you know everything, if you can't be advised, and sometimes even the advice comes from people that you don't respect because they probably might know something that is within the space that you want to tap into. And being open-minded means that you allow criticism. You know that someone can even tell you that thing wouldn't work. And remember, this is different from haters or people that will discourage you because they don't see the picture. They don't see the vision that you've seen. No, I'm saying this is when you see that you can change what you thought was, because now you've got new information. You can change your idea probably of trying to start a TV company because you know there's VR. And now you are starting to figure out what is it that in the space of VR and Internet of Things, what is it that I can see in the virtual reality, and you grow into that space. Be open-minded. Sometimes we start businesses and we are fixed-minded. We think that things are going to be like this. And then we get so devastated and we hit a slump on year 2 or 3 because we are fixed into a certain outcome. We then get so frustrated and we think, hey, this entrepreneurship is too tough. It's not for the kids. Yes, it's not, because it's for people who are open-minded. Funders, look for someone who's open-minded. Look for someone who's able to see things 360 and be able to say, to accommodate criticism and see that I don't know everything. I'm willing to learn. I'm a student. By the way, myself, I think the reason why I'm in the trajectory of success is because I'm a student of nature. I'm a student of the mind, nature, and the universe. I'm continuously studying nature. I'm continuously studying the mind, how it works and how I can utilize my mind well. I'm continuously studying the universe, how all the forces in the I'm a student, and at any given point, I don't know anything. And here's what I'm going to share with you why I'm saying it might be difficult for people that have been programmed as academics to transition to entrepreneurial mindset if they don't realize this. I'm not saying they can't. They can. I think that people can evolve into entrepreneurs if they deliberately do that. But here's what's going to stop them. An academic or someone who has studied a certain discipline. Sorry, my laptop is just about to die. Let me just do this. Just a second. All right, my battery was to die. I'm just gonna charge it now. What's gonna kill them from seeing and succeeding in this is that what academics does is that it gives you a certain discipline and gives you this thing of thinking that I know everything. And once you think that you know everything, and that's why you find that sometimes people that become successful are B students, people that have never that didn't, I'm not saying college dropout, because you might now start benchmarking with the US guys. I'm taking this locally. I'm saying there's a guy that you went to school with, and that guy dropped off at Form 3, and this guy you need now see him in your village being successful, running a welding company, running this, and because this guy is open-minded, is able, he knows that he doesn't know everything. But now when you get to that point where you graduate and you have a degree, you think I know everything. That's gonna kill you, because then you won't grow. But entrepreneurship, it's about growth. Mindset is about being startup mind is about being open-minded and knowing that sometimes your trajectory might change because you found some new information and you are continuously studying and you are seeing that things are evolving. Right now we're in the Internet of Things, knowledge-based economy, fourth industrial revolution. Do you even know about those things? Do you even someone might stand in front of a fund or a financier and they talk about something that is 50 years old that it will never work because things have changed. Do you know that things change? So I'm saying grow for your business to grow. The last one, before I engage questions, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about this thing where people think that I need to start money. Someone who has got a startup mindset doesn't think that I need money to really start this thing. Remember I said they become resourceful. They think, how do I find money? They don't look for money. How do I find money? That's the different, they say when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. How do I find money? Remember I said I started selling insurance to find the money so that I can fund my vision. I saw a vision. And this thing, if you look at our logos, we used to be called Kia Solutions. If you look at our logo and our letterhead back in 2014, you will see that letterhead, even though we were selling insurance, it was written financial education, financial planning, portfolio management. Do you know that even right now, that's what we say we do at that advisory, financial education. I saw that it was a vision. I wrote it. I knew that was going to happen, but I needed to make money through that insurance and fund my vision. Now my vision is becoming fruitful, is generating the income. Hence, I'm saying, what's your motive? Do you think you're gonna make money just? And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes these things, when I talk about them, I become passionate about it because I think a lot of people, if they could change the way they see, and if funders could change the way they see, we will go in the right direction. Here's what I'm gonna tell you about this issue of money, and you must listen carefully, because people that always are looking for the money to start an enterprise, what then happens is that when the money runs out, because it's the money that they thought was fueling their engine, when the money runs out, they close shop. Okay? The second thing that you should know is that money itself isn't going to make you successful. And as I build the enterprise, I want to think about money as something that is a result and a byproduct of me moving humanity forward. And I know that because I'm thinking long term, and that's key. Because I'm thinking long term. I'm not thinking now, so that my friends can see me driving and being at this nicer place. Because I'm thinking long term. I have sacrificed so much that my life is not fueled by money. So I'm running this company not because I wanted to make money for me to live a certain life, but I know that this business is going to grow, and I'm very investing everything in it, grow to be so much and impact many people in Botswana, in Africa, and ultimately in the world. That's a long-term thinking. And that person, and here's the other thing that you need to know about money. Last thing, and then we go into questions and answers. You know, they say success is not the destination, success is a journey. Even if right now I'm still thinking, I'm not focused on the money, but as I'm going through it and solving people's lives and reinvesting, I'm still making the money and I can still enjoy the money. That's the beauty about it. That's the beauty. But because I know, one person asked me, how do you resist the temptation? How do you become okay of taking we've got a fleet, like we've got more than 10 cars in an organization, because instead of buying a nicer car, a GT6, whatever, I took the money, bought cars for the insurance broker so that we have more people running. How did I resist not buying that GT6? How did I resist not buying that nicer car? How do you become comfortable with just taking the Honda Fit, the company Honda Fit, and driving around gaps, and just your friends and people that know you run a business seeing you on that? How do you resist that? And then I told them, that's the mindset. Once you know that this is not about you, and this is not about how people look at you, and this is not about the money, it's about solving people's problems, it's about creating and building an empire that is going to be sustainable, and it's for the long term. You start not caring. Now, funders, look for someone who wouldn't take your money and just close shop the moment they make money and they buy a nicer car with the money. And as a person who want to be in this game, know that it's not easy, because you'll have to sacrifice a lot of things. Know that it's not easy because even when your friends buy nicer cars, you won't have to. You will have to delay your gratification. That's basically, and build that as an ability in you, as a habit, that ultimately, I can tell you, you will have a startup mindset. You'll have an entrepreneurial mindset. In conclusion, if you really want to be in this game, and you really want your business to grow from ideation, concept to product, to continuously become a business that changes people's lives and make money for you, if you really want to do that, and you want funders to really look into giving you that money, and you want them to trust you with the money, not only funders, I mean like banks, everyone, because you apply for loan, you apply for CD, you apply for this. If you really want, ask yourself, am I be able to see the future? Do I have that in me? Can I be excited about the future? Not now, the future. Am I resourceful? Am I triggering my ability, my inherent ability to create? Am I continuously growing myself? Am I continuously investing in myself? Am I a person who's continuously looking at solving real problems and looking at what is around me and saying, what is it that I can do to solve? And I'm a person who is open-minded to know that I can learn from people, because that's where collaboration also comes from. Because if you think you can do it alone, you'll never win, okay? Am I a person who's looking at money, or am I a person who's looking at money as something that helps me to fuel my vision? Or do I look at money as something that can help me fulfill my instant gratification and things that I wanted now? Look, if you have these things, if you're able to see them, funders, if you're able to see these things, we have a product at Keyworth. We have a program that helps you to come up with questions that can come around this, to see if someone has a visionary, someone is able to create, and they trigger that inherent ability. If someone doesn't focus on the money, if someone is a problem solver, develops growth, continuously developing themselves for growth, and is resourceful. We do have that program that helps funders, but I'm talking to now aspiring entrepreneurs. Prepare yourself for this, because this is not easy. It's not going to be easy. You have to sacrifice quite a number of things. You have to build certain habits. You have to make sure that your ideology, your philosophy, your belief system is fueled by these things. It's not fueled by what it is currently, what the status quo is, where you think you can just go in. Think about it this way. Do you think that if I take you like the way you are right now and then put you in a surgery where usually doctors go, who are qualified, went to school 7 years, sacrificed all their years and study surgery, and then they're able to do it well. Do you think if I were to take you and put you in that surgery room and say, operate this person, carry out a surgery on this person's body, do you think you're going to do a good job? Chances are not. You're going to kill that person. That's what I'm simply saying. You're going to kill your business. You're going to kill your startup. You're going to kill everything if you don't see these things. This is your food. This is what needs to be happening. And people don't even need to see this. People don't see this. This is what needs to be in you if you really want to have a startup that is going to be successful. I use this. I learned this over time. Some I didn't know. Some I known. And when I built up the business, and like I said, it's not only this. I just picked up 6 that I felt like they were the real core. They were, if you were to start here, you'll go somewhere. Mr. Tekere, at this point, big guy, I will allow you to ask that question. I'd also wanted to talk about the change program, that one that we have, but please, can I allow you to really just ask so that we can discuss, because I feel like I've been speaking for a long time now. Mr. Tekere, are you able to hear me, sir? Mr. Tekere?
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah, so thank you for that interesting presentation, Franz. I must say that I never knew that there was a Motswana with such knowledge around, the startup mindset. We went to university together, so I remember those days when you were doing 3 jobs. One at the main mall in a pharmacy, and I was like, what the hell is this guy doing working in a pharmacy? I didn't understand to really practicing this thing called entrepreneurship. And I knew you were always selling something, if not shoes and I think among that campus of University of Botswana, I'm tempted to ask one question that's been given from the live here, which I'm just going to put on the screen, which says that, how do you infuse that mindset in universities and colleges? Because before UB, you already had this mindset. So how do we put this mindset or this spirit in Modi University? Because I hear you saying this is not about curriculum, this is not about doing science, this is not about doing business. This mindset. How do we get that Modi University in Zawazwa?
Yes, Mr. Tekere, do you know what this is? That's us painting a picture. If we were to understand what it is, because it's a place where we need to go into. If we were to understand, we will then. There are 2 things. Actually, you're asking about how do we use it. But first of all, we need to know that people that they say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. People that want to embark on this thing called entrepreneurship, like I said, they have to be intentional. They have to take ownership. They have to have that responsibility and make it their own and know that there is an existence. And I think us as entrepreneurs, Mr. Tekere, we have responsibility to create that role model, to create that picture that this is what we say when we talk about entrepreneurship, so that we are giving those that wants to go into it a lifeline to say that for me to really think like an entrepreneur, this is what I need to do. For me to really, and so when you talk about now the curriculum and infusing it in the university, I think we also have a responsibility as entrepreneurs who are doing it because we know that in UB, for example, they are teaching entrepreneurship, but chances are they're probably teaching it in an academic way, and they're probably teaching it to people who just want to learn it as another course. So we must create programs that we go to universities and then teach people. When the way people have churches that they go to universities and they preach the word, and then they have members from the university. People do that. So why don't we as entrepreneurs, because we have a responsibility to move humanity forward, we need to introduce these things. And I'm happy that you are as part of the Global Entrepreneurship Network. These are programs we need to introduce in universities. And as we introduce them, guess what? When the student is ready to show up here, people that are attracted to the thing of entrepreneurship, people who are like me when I was in university, they will hear about it, they will take ownership. They will know that it's their responsibility to really know what this is. And they will make it their own, they'll come through. Anyway, we're natural entrepreneurs. We're infusing it in that particular way. And I can say also, I think it's time for people that want to fund entrepreneurs to really have a rigorous mentorship program that speaks to really helping inculcate this mindset into entrepreneur, into people aspiring or entrepreneurs. You know, here's the thing, Mr. If you were to take 100 people, for example, and then you want to fund them, you take them through an interview. Some might confuse you because they've crammed. They somehow maybe they are telling you what you want to hear. But it takes someone who really knows what this thing is, what I was discussing, to really start filtering and maybe come up with maybe 20 people. Who among these 20, at least maybe 10 are aspiring. They have that bit of it, or maybe they have 2 of them, they have 3, but they have the ability to actually nurture other abilities within there. But you also have those other 10 that have that innate they probably have maybe 9 or 10, 8 out of them. They were like me when I was at UB. They were looking and curious about doing this. But here's the thing. We're not saying all the 10 that are there will succeed. Still in entrepreneurship, we fail. You can still have an enterprise, you can still have the right mindset and all that, but you can still fail. I'm saying we need to start, like the person who just posted that, we need to really make it our responsibility. We need to own it. And those that really want to go into this, they also need to find, they say the people that you're looking for are also looking for you. And if you can, even in business now, I do the same. The service that I'm providing is someone who's looking for it. My job is to go out and look for them because they can come to me. So, but now, if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, go out and look for people like Tekere. And I know that you were interviewing Mr. Christopher, as keywords are part of the Project 124. Go out and look for people like Mr. Christopher. Go out and look for mentorship programs that, go out to look like for people like both France meaning me, for Mr. Tekere. Just figure out how to understand how the entrepreneur thinks, and then they will recommend you certain books. They will recommend you certain habits to build. They will do that. So I think that question, I like it, and I think at university we need to figure out how to do it.
So we have another question that I just want to put to just a moment.
Era, you're saying we have another question?
There you go.
Era, are we waiting for a question?
Yeah, so the question is, it's going to pop on the screen. It says, what is the top best signal for a young company to adopt the startup mentality in its workforce? So I'm assuming here the person is making reference to say, how do you bring the startup mentality in a workforce? So it's Keyworld. So probably, Keyworld probably has people who think like you. How do you bring this into the workforce, basically?
That's key, sir, because we all know that, and I'll pivot it from what I said earlier, that everyone is born with an inherent ability to create. So once, as a startup owner, once you know that you have creativity, and you know that your employees have creativity, you then ignite that creativity in them. You then figure out what is it that they know best and they can do best, and you position them there where they can do best. Because, Mr. Tekere, we don't all have to be entrepreneurs. I remember I went with you to a certain presentation that was done by Poverty Eradication, and there were if I don't get the numbers right, we'll correct. But if I remember where they were sitting, they had funded about 27,000 companies. They used 1.35 billion, and they only had about 2,000 companies that were really looking like they will make it. But the ones that were still, were about 26,000, but they had employed only 28,000. Now, here's my question. That means most of those companies have employed at least one person each. So it's a guy who took money to go, produce soap, and they produce soap, they sell it, and they go drink, and then when the money finishes, they go back and make another soap. And then that guy tells you, look for the market for me. That's not a startup mindset. That's not a person with a mindset. So now I'm going back to your question to say that as a startup, if you want to infuse the startup mindset, you know that your employees have got an inherent ability to create. Figure out how to ignite that. Figure out how to position themselves in what they do best. And then that's now you building a team, because that's, if you are an entrepreneur with an entrepreneur mindset, you also know that you're going to build a team. You also know that you are open, because you're open-minded. You don't know everything. You give them the ability to do things that you can't do because they complement your weaknesses. So you infuse it, and by continuously talking to them about what is it that we can do better, involve them in problem solving. Don't be the one solving the problems all the time. Involve them in problem solving. See the ability to solve the problem. Throw a problem to them and see how they can solve it. They will do it. Don't always be right. Like I said earlier, you can't run a business and always be right. There are people who know better than you, and even if you have employed them. So figure out how to infuse it by, let me just go back to my screen just to show you, because the person is asking maybe in relation to what I was talking about. Let me just go there now. Tell me if you're able to see the screen, Mr. Tekere. Yeah. So now, how do you infuse vision? How do you infuse resourcefulness?
Yeah, we're adding it to the stream now.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah, it's coming now.
All right, let me just go ahead, and because let me just answer this question. The screen will just come up as I go along. So how do you infuse vision? How do you infuse vision into your employees? Sell them the vision. Live it. Let them see you sacrifice. Because if they see you, you make money with them, but you're not paying them much, the next thing they see you driving a nicer car, they don't believe in you because you are telling them that there is this vision and I'm looking for the future, but you are doing the opposite. That's the thing. Be an exemplary. They will buy into the vision because they're seeing that you are living it. And then resourcefulness. How do you do that? Start with what you have. Show them that we can still make this even if we don't have resources. Involve them in cost cutting. Ask them, how can we become creative in generating the income? Let them become resourceful. Give them projects. You infuse this over time. Remember, I said all these things are built through repetition, but you have to be intentional about them. How do you make sure that you infuse growth in them? Grow. When you grow, they will grow. All right? And employ people that are teachable. Attract people that are teachable, that are open-minded as you. Have a policy of growth within the organization. Okay? Problem solving, obviously, that they also, if they are, because there are people who are entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, these are people that they think entrepreneurially and they work for an entrepreneur. Like I said, not everyone has to be an entrepreneur. We can still change people's lives by working together and doing what we do best and being creative within an enterprise and grow together and be successful together. I want you to make sure that people see that they have the ability to create. And once they see that they're with you because they can buy into the agent, they create with you. I think Mr. Tekere, there are guys that I work with, and these are guys that they are so passionate as I am because they create, and I was able to see the creativity in them, and I'm giving them the room to create because I can see that I'm igniting that creativity in them. All right. I hope I answered that question, sir. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing because it
right. I think you have done a sterling job in making a beautiful presentation reference. I think before we come to the conclusion, maybe let's bring it a bit practically home. With this COVID that's there, where people are working from anywhere, I don't like this word of work from home, because if you say work from home, are you paying for my internet? I actually just say we keep it work from anywhere. Okay, work from anywhere means that I can go find a spot where I work, as to whether if it's my garden or whatever, that's none of your concern. But what is your perspective with this new world of the internet world, where I'm able to ask you to make 1 hour and you don't have to come in a conference room like we used to do? I know people are seeing you here for the first time, but I know you've been part of the global entrepreneurship week, sacrificing Francis, you come on the platform, you give a talk, and this is not new science. So what's your view of this new world? And when I talk about this practically, I'm seeing government has given 100 million pula to Leah, another billion pula to BDC, another money to this. Where's the private sector's input in helping bring the new economy? What is the role of Key Wealth? Key Wealth gonna have to go and beg over where is the recovery from the private sector perspective on an equal table? What's your view on this?
Thank you very much, Mr. Tekere. In actual fact, I'll start by saying that I'm so excited about the latest developments because they've shown us that we can become resourceful. Things can be done at a lower cost, and I think corporates and private companies are now starting to realize they can reduce their costs by reducing the office space, by reducing and get people to work from everywhere, as long as they utilize their creativity and they solve problems. And I can tell you that even right now as Key Wealth, because we're evolving, with the changes, that's the ability to evolve and change with the times. We have even accredited courses through BQA, because like I said, we're BQA accredited consultancy also. We've accredited courses such as managing people from home. We also have accredited a course called digital education to teach us in schools how to use internet and teach online. Because some of them don't even know. They've been teaching for 30, 40 years. They've never touched a computer. They don't know how to share. We are teaching them online how to practically be impactful even when you're teaching online. We have got 4 courses, fourth industrial revolution, level 1, 2, 3, 4. We are moving with the times because the world will never be the same. We think that it's never going to be the same. Now, let me go back to when you said that Leah and all these other prestigious are given money to invest in what's coming. And we also need to appreciate that even if the world is evolving, we still have our basic problems that we don't feed ourselves, we don't clothe ourselves, and we don't employ ourselves, and we don't, we don't own what we live in, whatever. I think that it's key. Now is the time for those organizations like Leah and all that to bring entrepreneurs together, the ones that are already doing it. That's number one, to help them in figuring out where is it that we can place our money to have the most impact and employ more people. Because, Mr. Tekere, some people are not looking for the money, they are looking for jobs, my man. So people like me who have employed 20 people, recapitalize me so that I can employ 100, because those people are looking for jobs. So hence I'm saying, Leah can figure out how to tap into global entrepreneurship network, Mr. Kustafalo, and all these other people that are already working with entrepreneurs, and say, guys, let's help us figure out how to really look at people with the mindset. And by the way, the second thing is here, and I might be controversial when I say this, because I know most of their mandates are more political, and they're more, which is good, because not good that they're political, but they're good because they're changing a lot of people's lives. They're giving everyone an opportunity. But I'm saying this, that there's a difference between investing in a startup and someone who's just starting up and trying things out, than investing in someone who's already started and they became resourceful and they started with what they had. Because this person has an opportunity to grow and become resilient and build a thick skin, because they are in the game. They put themselves in the game. You are not putting them in the game. And you can achieve what you want to achieve through this guy who had started already, but than this guy who wants to start. I'm not saying people shouldn't start. I'm saying start with what you have, and let's see that you are capable. Because I think the ultimate that Leah and the other companies are looking for, Mr. Tekere, is to create employment and make Botswana lives better. So hence I'm saying it's time for them to partner with entrepreneurs so that they can make Botswana's life better. But now going back to private sector, not that I'm talking about this and that, but let me talk about private sector. As you said, I think private sector is evolving. Now companies are starting to see that they don't need to have so many overheads about people coming in and just drinking coffee and doing nothing, and be on Facebook and YouTube and doing nothing. Now they are seeing the real people that are starting to employ and keep people that are employing people that are solving the real problems. They now can start using technology with the Internet of Things and to really solve real problems with lower expenses, but still be effective. Now it's challenging people to now work hard on themselves, to say, because the world is changing, the private sector now is reducing our costs. How do we evolve with the times and now be able to be more creative? And I'm going to always go back to this thing of creativity. We become creative as we evolve. Listen to that. We become creative as we evolve. And that's key. Things are changing. Private sector is not going to be the same anymore. And by the way, do you know that I know that we're in the state of emergency, Mr. Tekere, but truth be told, after state of emergency, we're going to see a lot of restructurings. People are going to lose their jobs, not only because the economy has shrunk, companies are not making money. No, also because companies have realized that they can make more with less. Companies now have realized that they don't have to have, if let's say we're a training company, do we need to have a branch in Maung for us to still do trainings? We can do them virtually and still make money. So that means we don't have to have someone manning our office in Maung. I don't know if you get my point. So what I'm simply saying is things are going to change. The question is, are we ready? The question is, are we investing in ourselves enough to really embrace this? The question is, are we positioning ourselves for opportunities that are brought by this? Like I'm saying at Keyworth, you know, they say even in a drought, Vasha still eat. We have programs such as restructuring programs, psychosocial counseling, financial counseling, because we know companies are going to restructure. We have now accredited courses, again, like as I said earlier, digital education, because we know universities, tertiary institutions, private, the education system is going to go virtual. We're going to get to a point, Mr. Tekere, where people now will become comfortable with having a degree that they got online. But, you know, before COVID, people always thought, no, for me to really have a degree that I value, I have to have gone through brick and mortar and have someone stand in front of me and teach me. They always thought, no, a degree that is got online is not the real one. Now they are writing tests and exams online at their own university that they used to go to. Now they're realizing that I can get a degree online. I can use my skill online. I can make money online. That's what I'm simply saying. The world is changing. How do you position yourself? That's why we're creating those courses. Fourth Industrial Revolution, digital education, managing workers from home. Because we see the world is changing. The world is changing. Even when the economy recovers, Mr. Tegera, I can tell you, companies are still going to be linear. Companies are still going to reduce their expenses because they know now people are embracing this online things. And who knew? I don't think you knew this platform that we are using now before COVID. I don't think people knew Zoom before COVID. People didn't know a lot about Teams. We knew Microsoft, but we didn't know Microsoft Teams before COVID. We didn't know quite a number of these things that are here. LMS, learning management systems, we didn't know. Fiverr, the one that you put your creativity, you are a voiceover artist, you just create a profile, you can do voiceover artist for someone in Europe because they probably want an African voice, you still make money here. You know, people never knew. Now people can use their creativity to make money online. I'm excited. We are changing. We're at Keyworth. It's solving people's problems, but it's going with times and making sure that we become relevant where we are. So I'm saying that that's what I'm saying, my man, in terms of private sector, and that's what I'm saying in terms of Boleya, because I'm saying they must also know where the world is moving. They must also know that they must invest in the people that have started, the people that are going to make the real change that they want, not just to take money to everyone, and then after 3 years they realize that 90 million of that money has gone down the drain. In actual fact, the ones that were given 10 million, the Pareto principle. The ones that were given 10 million, if you value their businesses, they'll probably be valued 90 million, but you only give them 10 million. Look for those guys. Those are the ones that are going to solve your problems, because your problem is creation of employment. Your problem isn't money. Your problem is creation of employment. We are creating employment. I've got 28 employees. I can have 100 because I know the vision, the Keyworth as a group, it should be employing 1,000 people, 2,000 people in the next 15 years, my man. And I'm saying it's gradual, it's growth, 28 to 52. And it's not only Botswana, Africa. And by the way, now because of technology, do you know that we can have an employee in Kenya who's virtual, who can actually train? In actual fact, what I wanted to do in this webinar, I have a friend in Kenya through the Mandela Washington Fellowship. I wanted to invite him to be part of this webinar. I am training in Kenya. I'm telling you, I'm training in Kenya right now because of this and making money in Kenya. I don't know if you get my point. That guy could be working for us, training for us here. We can have trainers all over the world training for us through the classroom. We still make the money. That's what I'm simply saying. So growth is in a certain. So let's have that mindset. In conclusion, let's see where the world is moving. Let's evolve with it. Let's grow, but still solving the real problems. Thank you, Mr. Teker. I think it's the moment. We're gonna go deeper, man of God.
Thank you. That is Mogomotsi France telling us that, you know, startups across the globe are invited to look up a Botswana-based company called Keyworth so that they can unlock and accelerate the potential of the Industry 4.0. And what I like is that everybody sitting online is accepting the Keyworth, that the startup mind challenge. So I think that is the call to action that Remo Romutsi France gives us as part of the Global Entrepreneurship Week. He says that anybody who does not adopt the startup mindset model that they've shared, they will be disrupted. And disruption means that you will find yourself out of a job, company will completely close and shut down. It means that you will fail. And he's also invited those in government to reconsider their processes of partnership. And I think as Key Wealth, they are sitting on a resource that can help those that can potentially be retrenched, that can those that can actually also grow their companies. Because they are friends of ours in Botswana, we appreciate them making time to share their content with us for free. Trust me, after this, they will not be giving this content for free. Somebody has to pay for it because that's their business model. So I challenge you guys to follow them on their social media and all their handles. Mr. France, I would like to give you 1 minute to say your last words so that we can close this broadcast.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tegere. I have hope for the world. And I so believe that if we wake up in the morning with that thing in us to move humanity forward, we can solve people's problems. And in the process, we can become successful. And I also say that there is a mindset that we can develop, startup mindset, entrepreneur mindset. And I believe that anyone can become an entrepreneur if they nurture themselves and develop and evolve into this. And believe me, we can move humanity forward if we work together. Let's make sure that we embrace this thing of entrepreneurship. Let's not confuse it. Let's not make it like it's a fashion thing that we don't understand. I think let's understand it and let's utilize it and let's figure out how to make it work. And we can move Botswana forward. Thank you very much, Mr. Tegere.
Well, colleagues, these are the sort of people that we want to see in the boards of organizations driving entrepreneurship in Botswana. I hope those that are listening across the country, you take this to be the new norm. But just to mention that this session has been recorded on the Entrepreneurship Week Botswana Facebook page. Please go there if you have missed the insights. We've also asked Key Wealth to share it widely for free on their page for you to transact with them. We've all shared this on the One Africa Facebook page so that you can get the insights. And we do appreciate Re Mokhomotsi France for making time this afternoon. We do apologize for the delay in starting, sir. It's not normal that we should have done that. But we would like to thank Orange for sponsoring the internet for the team. I understood that the internet did not cut, so that means that their internet works very nicely. That's why we had a beautiful session, Lere Mokhomotsi France. I would also like to just thank the virtual participants that asked the questions on behalf of Key Wealth. And I also like to thank Bajen Botswana team that are behind the scenes who are doing the hard work of making sure that this broadcast goes live. So on behalf of the Global Entrepreneurship Week, the session is now officially closed. See you guys at 6 p.m. where we have the next session, and tomorrow is the last day. So reference, goodbye.
No, before you close the session, as a salesman, I feel like I have not done the right thing without sharing where people can get in contact with us as Key Wealth. You can go to our website. It's www.keywealth.co.bw. KEYWELATH. Key Wealth. So keywealth.co.bw. And my page is Mokhomotsi. My profile is Mokhomotsi Patrick France, and my page is Mokhomotsi France Speaks. And you go Key Wealth. You can also drop us an email if you want to know about our restructuring program, our training programs, all our BQ accredited programs, and all our financial education and financial planning programs. You can call us at 398-0321. 398-0321. Or drop us an email at info@keywealth.co.bw. Mr. Tegere, thanks a lot for giving us the platform, sir. We really appreciate.
All right, thank you, my chief. We've put out the tech there, keywealth.co.bw. As you have had, we would like to now officially say Ra leboga reference and goodbye to all our viewers.
Thank you very much, sir. Bye-bye.